So the thing about Homestuck is that it's such a wildly twisted piece of media. Alternate timelines, clones, regular time shenanigans. Not sure if time shenanigans can be regular, but whatever. Parallel universes. So what am I getting at here? Well, one of the craziest things about Homestuck is, despite everything I just listed, shipping. Okay, so anyone who's ever gotten even remotely close to the Homestuck fandom, or any fandom really, is well aware of how chaotic and controversial shipping can be. Homestuck shipping in particular is special. With everything from quadrants to Lucky Charms, Homestuck has it all. The reason Homestuck shipping is so convoluted is with how batshit crazy and convoluted Homestuck itself is. Pretty much everything and anything can be justified via loopholes, plot holes, and regular holes. The other side of this rigged coin is that ships can be just as easily labeled as toxic or even pro-ships. I think it's safe to say that no pairing is truly safe from the scorn of the Homestuck fandom. Even so, we're going to analyze some of Homestuck's most popular and controversial ships to find out which OTPs are really no-TPs. So let's get controversial. Disclaimer. We are not here to justify pro-ships, nor the actions of certain characters. We are merely analyzing a webcomic to make an objective opinion. I wanted to start off with what is probably one of the most controversial and canonical pairings. Note, I said one of. Tavris. Sorry guys, no pedophilia or incest ships today. We are going to start by analyzing canonical panels of their relationship. We will then make an unbiased observation and sort through the varying interpretations and opinions of the relationship. Now, there's a lot of places we can start, but I think we should first review what is probably one of Vriska's most controversial moments: the kiss. I'd like to start out by reminding everybody that we are not here to justify the actions of Vriska Circuit. There are plenty of videos out there that already do that, and we're just not gonna add to that pile. We are here, on the other hand, to analyze a relationship between two characters. That being said, it's important to note that people have different views of what is classified as sexual assault. That is not an excuse to attack someone for their own interpretation of not only this scene, but essay in general. Okay, be advised. Thank you. So for those of you that don't know, leading up to this moment, Vriska, who is Tavros' server player, has tricked Tavros into a gate leading to her hive, where she somewhat literally catches him in her web. In the panel, Vriska Make Pupa Have Happy Thoughts, we see our beloved heroine, Vriska, graciously assisting Tavros off the floor of her hive. I wonder how he got there. So, things to notice in this panel is that Tavros is visibly apprehensive and probably terrified. We can reasonably infer that this reaction is because, it's Vriska. She threw him off a cliff. Vriska, on the other hand, is grinning, and that's just freaking Tavros out more. He is probably terrified of what may or may not be coming. Okay, so this is where we get a little controversial. That's so funny to say in the context of Homestuck, of all things. We see Vriska kissing Tavros. There are a couple of important things to notice about the situation. One, Tavros, for the most part, is helpless. If you didn't know, he's paralyzed from the waist down, so he can't really escape. He could arguably use his, arms, but that would probably just end in this falling. We can actually see his arms moving, he's kind of debating whether or not to push her off. Then, the next thing to take notice of is that Tavros is actually blushing in this scene. Whether it's from surprise or something else, he is blushing. Vriska, on the other hand, is not. Okay, so the most important thing that a lot of people seem to overlook is this little flashing spade heart and question mark. Which is understandable because between Tavros's wide-eyed look of I don't even know what emotion that is, but it's probably not good, and Vriska's look of what I can only assume is pure disgust. I also missed the tiny flashing graphic there at first. But it's there. Disgust quickly turns to anger, though, as she throws Tavros on the floor. Please do not throw disabled people on the floor. That is not nice. So, Vriska here is trying to make Tavros hate her, using her mind powers. In the next panel, she opens her eyes, confronted by hearts instead of spades, causing her to throw him back on the floor, as normal people do when somebody doesn't hate them. It is heavily implied later in the comic, when we go on to explain quadrants, that Tavros actually does have red feelings for Vriska, which there's a lot of psychological implications for that, which I will not get into today, but all you need to know is we don't kink shame here. So, we have established that for some reason, Tavros has red feelings for Vriska. But how does Vriska feel? Well, we actually know that the only reason Vriska wanted to instigate a kissmesitude with Tavros in the first place was the same reason she had one with Aridin. Not because she actually feels that way about either of them, but because she wants to follow in Mindfang's footsteps. Homestuck doesn't really elaborate too much on the matter, which leads to a lot of memes about Tavros pushing Vriska off of various objects. That has also caused a lot of problems at cons. Please do not push people out of wheelchairs. Thank you. That being said, Homestuck Beyond Canon has actually provided some insight on Vriska's feelings. Now, whether or not you consider Homestuck Beyond Canon to be canon is up to you, but we are going to look at this because, I mean, where else are we going to look? Hussie's author's notes? That does not seem like a good idea. Anyway, given the context of Homestuck 2, I think that Tavros could have been successful and might have even been healthy for Vriska. Unfortunately, even with the context of Homestuck 2, Vriska has always been very special, as we will get into much, much, much more with this series. So, given that Homestuck 2 is right, I think that Tavros could have been a great example of a kissmesitude. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way, and that sucks. Without the context of HS2, the relationship is much like every other ship involving Vriska. One-sided and very toxic. So, now for the big question. Is it okay to ship Tavros? And the answer to that is, you can do whatever you want. They're fictional characters. The point of this series isn't actually to tell you what you can and can't ship, it's just providing some context you might not have had before. Just overly analyzing a almost 10-year-old comic. Oh shit, it's more than that, isn't it? Damn. As we cover these ships, we're definitely gonna be getting into some more controversial stuff. Like, some very controversial stuff. It's Homestuck. We aren't here to determine right and wrong, we're simply analyzing what could have been. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video and possibly had a ship recommendation or wanted to see something covered, then you should join my Discord, where you will be able to recommend any ship and I will probably get it done. So, yeah, do that. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, I guess. Don't read Homestuck.